Ladies and gentlemen, this is your double AEW Dynamite review. Yes, I said double because we are indeed reviewing two shows tonight. At least the key points to last week's show. On Wednesday, April 7th for last week, and tonight, April 14th, 2021. I hope you guys are having a great night tonight. We got a lot on the table. A lot on the table here tonight on the Big Fight Field channel. It's a huge night here. Back talking about AEW. And first off, before anything, I got to give you guys a round of applause. Yes, you, the viewers. I have to give you a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you so much for all the support for WrestleMania weekend, and the vlogs absolutely were amazing. It turned out great. The numbers were great. I'm sorry I couldn't turn on the comments on the night 2 vlog because I was out on the road on Monday, so I couldn't be able to control that. But night 1 we had 360 views, and night 2 we had 159 views. So I thank you guys so much for all this positive support and the viewership and just the positivity the past couple weeks, man. It's been amazing, and I couldn't do it without you guys' support. We're almost at 400 subscribers here on the Big Fight Field channel, which I can't wait for. We're 13 subs away until 400 subscribers here on the channel, which I can't wait until we get to 400, man. Hopefully we get to that soon. And also, now that I got all the WrestleMania stuff and the thank yous out of the way. Oh, and one more thank you. I also want to thank my good friends that I met up at WrestleMania. I want to thank Nathan Hansen. I want to thank the Blue Riot. And I also want to thank who I meant to get this personal vlog, but I completely forgot, and I very much apologize. My good friend Win Brantley. So I want to thank you three for, if you're watching this, I want to thank you three for making WrestleMania weekend such an amazing weekend with me. And also got to thank my friend Eddie as well. So, and then before all of this happened, the last AEW review we did was with the Arcade Anarchy. I wrote it down, 281 views. That is by far the most viewed AEW review on the Big Fight Field channel. So for myself and my guest here tonight, you guys know him, Wesley Williams, we would like to thank you all.
Thank you so much. 281, Joseph? Am I correct on that?
Yes, sir.
281. Folks, thank you. Thank you so much. We really, truly appreciate it. I love every single weekend to be on here. Not including last week, of course, because you fans out there had to wait 2 long weeks without hearing our beautiful voices talk about AEW. I mean, come on. We couldn't keep you waiting for much longer. So now we're back tonight. You know what they say, 2 is better than 1. We got a double feature, an explosive double feature coming your way tonight. And so, folks, let's break the 281 views record that we have just set here on Big Fight. Let's break that record with this double feature. We got so much to talk about, so much great wrestling, so much great news to talk about. And who better to talk about than myself and the man right there, Joseph Conlon. Let's get right into it, my man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We set the bar. This is week 6 and 7 of the Dynamite reviews. Every single one of them has gotten over 100 views. So let's keep that streak up tonight. Get over 100. We got a huge show for you guys. And, dude, I mean, I had a long intro, probably the longest intro on the channel in a very long time. We have a ton of stuff to talk about. Are you ready?
Oh, dude, I was born ready, man. 2 weeks, and now we're back. Let's do what we do best and review AEW Dynamite the best way we know how.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, We are going to talk about last week's Dynamite first. We're not going to talk about everything about last week's Dynamite because we don't want to be here all night. So we are going to just basically talk about the important parts of last week's show. I will say everything that happened on last week's show right now. So we had Hangman Adam Page versus Max Caster to open up the show with Hangman Page getting the victory. We had Best Friends confront the Death Triangle. So I guess we have resumed that feud, which quite honestly I don't have an issue with at all. We have the Inner Circle return, where this will be the first thing we talk about, and it'll be two topics into one. Or actually, this will be the first thing, and then later on, they're in a segment again, so we'll talk about Mike Tyson next before this. But basically, Jericho in the promo, he confirmed that it's going to be the Inner Circle versus the Pinnacle at Blood and Guts on May 5th, live on Dynamite. That I thought they were going to save it for a pay-per-view, but they're giving us Blood and Guts on free television. Wow. Blood and Guts, baby. Everybody has wanted this match. People prefer Stadium Stampede. People prefer Blood and Guts. I don't really care. I think this feud does call for Blood and Guts. This is going to be amazing. I saw it coming, but I'm so hyped for the Blood and Guts, and I think I'm excited. I don't know what's going to happen at Double or Nothing, but we're getting these two teams added on May 5th, and I know now, if I had to predict, that show is going to feel like a pay-per-view. So I got to get your takeaways, Wes. It's the first thing we're talking about tonight. I got to get your takeaways on the Blood and Guts match happening on May 5th, live on Dynamite.
Well, I think we all saw this match coming once we saw that MJF revealed the Pinnacle faction. Once we knew that them and the Inner Circle were coming to blows, I think we all figured that Blood and Guts was coming. And here it is, man, May 5th. Not on May 30th, like we had actually kind of previously talked about here on the Big Fight Field channel about it happening in Double or Nothing. They're not doing that in Double. They're giving to us on free television, free Dynamite television. And you remember, last year, of course, we were promised this match, right as when the pandemic hit. And it was, it couldn't have come at a worse time. But here we are, 1 year later, May 5th. It's happening. Not between the Inner Circle and the Elite, but the Inner Circle and the Pinnacle. I'm very excited myself, my friend. I mean, I've been wanting this match for over a year, just like all the other AEW fans wanted. And it's crazy just to still think about how last year, with the big momentum wave that AEW was riding coming out of Revolution, even before Revolution, I mean, they were on the biggest momentum run out of any wrestling show at that point. And then, of course, the pandemic halted everything. But now, here we are. We're getting it May 5th. The fictional Wednesday Night War is over with, and so I'm hoping that night that AEW breaks 1 million viewers. I cannot see them not break 1 million viewers with that big of a match being announced between these two big factions here. I'm super excited for it. May 5th is going to be a monumental wrestling night. It is going to be big news night, and I just cannot wait for it.
Absolutely. And the last thing I want to talk about with this is Chris Jericho actually had an interview with Sports Illustrated. I think it was Sports Illustrated. I might be wrong with that. But he talked about this Blood and Guts match and the fans at Daly's Place. And he actually brung up something that was it was very interesting. He brung up that there's a possibility that AEW is going to have 50% capacity at Daly's Place for May 5th Blood and Guts, which would probably be their largest capacity. I think, I might be wrong, but I think that would be their largest capacity since the pandemic, since they brought fans back during the pandemic. That makes me happy, man. That really does make me happy. I don't know how they're going to fit 2 rings in Daly's Place. I'm sure they're going to come up with a way, but man, if this is true and we do get 50%, I'm very excited to hear that loud audience, 50%, because you heard it at WrestleMania this past week. I was there. The audience for both nights was very good, very loud, and they were entertained throughout the whole night, outside of a few things. And B, I think that show is going to suck. That show, May 5th, is going to sell out, I think. So what are your thoughts on the potential 50% capacity at May 5th, Blood and Guts?
I'm all for it, man. I mean, with a show like this, you need to have as many fans as you can possibly have. So 50%, I think I heard that's about like 2,800 fans. So that's a lot of people right there. There's a lot of people who make a lot of noise. And if any show is going to have it, it's got to be this one. We clearly saw this past weekend with WrestleMania that, was it like 25,000 that showed up at Raymond James Stadium? I mean, that was a big group of people, and you could tell it made such a huge difference with the show. I mean, with all that noise being made, having that fan interaction back, it's very vital to pro wrestling. And I love the fact that Jericho came into this interview and said that they're planning on having 50% capacity. I mean, you need to go big with this. This is a big, like, pay-per-view worthy kind of show here, pay-per-view like kind of show. So you got to go all out with it, or you don't want to just fold in a situation like this. So I'm very happy with this news, and I agree with you, Joseph. I think it's going to sell out. I mean, with a match that was promised over a year ago, people were very interested to see what was going to happen with AEW's version of War Games. And now we're finally getting that. I think it's going to be a huge sellout. I think it's going to be a huge success.
Yeah, man. You got to go with this. This is probably going to be, I think, this could be their biggest TV show to date. So you got to go big or go home. And for May 5th, all coins on deck. What did they say? All chips on deck or something like that?
Something like that. It probably had something to do with like the, casino and poker, stuff. Ties in with Double or Nothing coming up. So. Yeah,
absolutely. So then we had Jurassic Express, who defeated Bear Country in a Godzilla vs. King Kong match. QT Marshall had a promo at his factory. That is the new faction of his name now, the Factory. Great promo, by the way, by QT Marshall. I really did like that segment. Darby Allin defeated JD Drake to retain the TNT Championship. Then, later in the night, we had the Inner Circle and the Pinnacle brawling. The Inner Circle, the Pinnacle were beating down Chris Jericho. It was like 5-on-1. Then Mike Tyson came out to bring Chris Jericho, to help Chris Jericho. The Inner Circle ran off the Pinnacle, and then Jericho and Tyson hugged in the ring. Now, Mike Tyson's back. He was on tonight's show. He is, as of tonight's show, he's a member of the Inner Circle, I think. I think he said like he's an interim member of the Inner Circle. I'm not sure, but yeah. This move, I don't know. I didn't know how to feel about it. It was random, and it was random because I usually don't give criticism for this, but they announced the day before that Dynamite that Mike Tyson was going to be it. And I'm like, that's interesting. AEW is announcing Mike Tyson when a couple hours down the road in Orlando, the NXT is having a takeover show tonight. So I didn't know why Mike Tyson needed to be there in the first place. I guess they wanted to put him in this feud, but man, this felt random as hell. And I was not a fan of AEW announcing Mike Tyson just like that. I just wasn't a fan of that. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm there with you, Joseph. It was really random. It did feel almost like they were kind of doing what NXT has been known to do in their own right in its counter program. It kind of did feel that way. The fact that they announced it at the very last minute like that, with NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver happening on that Wednesday and Thursday of last week. So it was kind of, it was a little suspicious there. But and I will admit, with last week's episode, when Tyson came out and everything, I just, I wasn't really feeling it all that much. I kind of just was like, it was like somewhat cool, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, I don't know how to really feel. I feel like with tonight's show, I was like, I'm kind of on board a little bit more, like I'm not, now with Tyson apparently is now official member of the Inner Circle. Now, I don't think he's really going to be like, going to be an in-ring action and all that. I mean, Tyson's not a pro wrestler, and I don't want to see Tyson in pro wrestling and whatsoever. I don't mind him being there as like an enforcer and doing all that. I mean, I don't really mind that. It's just the in-ring aspect. I don't want to see any more celebrity matches. We already got the whole thing with Shaq, and it was a way better match than I originally anticipated, but it doesn't mean I want to see more celebrity matches. So, I'm starting to, accept it a little bit more. But last week though, at the very beginning of it, I just kind of really wasn't all into it all that much.
Yeah, I can understand you, but a spoiler alert for when we talk about tonight's show. Last week I didn't really like what they did with Mike Tyson, but for when we reviewed tonight's show, spoiler alert, I thought the way Mike Tyson was used in the Dax Harwood Chris Jericho match, I thought was excellent, and we're going to talk about that when we review tonight's show. And then finally, the last thing we're going to talk about is the six-man tag last week between Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers against Jon Moxley and the Young Bucks, which led to Moxley being super kicked by the Young Bucks, and then he took a magic killer, and Kenny Omega was dragged onto Moxley by the Young Bucks, and they didn't show. Did they show the beatdown to Moxley and Kingston by the Young Bucks and crew last week? I don't think they did.
Yeah, I don't think they did. I think that was like an after the show kind of deal. But I'm happy they at least like showed it at the beginning of Dynamite tonight. So I was happy to see that.
Yeah, because they showed to begin tonight's show, they had a promo with the Young Bucks. It showed them putting Eddie Kingston in a submission hold. I think he had the Young Bucks kissing Kenny Omega on each side of his cheek or something like that. But we saw this coming from a mile away. I knew this was going to happen. And you know what? Outside of the Inner Circle Pinnacle stuff, this is probably the thing I'm most invested in AEW. And let me tell you, the stuff that the Young Bucks did tonight, I'm not too familiar with heel Young Bucks. Don't attack me for that one, folks. I'm not too familiar with heel Young Bucks. But from what I saw tonight, I like it's a good start, man. That's a good start. But what did you think about this main event last week, Young Bucks turning on Moxley, and then we'll get into tonight's show?
Well, personally, when it came to the ending last week, I personally felt like it fell flat because I feel like it was just so predictable. Because I think we all knew that the Bucks were turning on Moxley once this match was made, and it just kind of felt weird with the end. Like it just kind of did this fall flat. It didn't feel like it was executed in the way that I think AEW really hoped it would. But I think tonight really made up for that when we saw the Bucks and the way that they were tonight. And I'm somebody who is more familiar with heel Young Bucks, and let me just tell you, man, you are in for a treat because this is the best version of the Young Bucks, in my honest opinion, is when they're just dastardly heels. Because I mean, I will say that being babyface and everything, after a while, and it was kind of becoming more apparent recently, was babyface Young Bucks just wasn't really working all that much, and I feel like this heel turn was much needed, and it really is boosting their characters and evolving their characters even more. And so, and that it showed more in tonight's episode, which we'll get into in just a little bit.
Just a little bit means actually right now. So, right now.
That's right.
So,
right now, right in a second. Yep.
The first thing we're going to talk about is Young Bucks versus Pac and Rey Fenix for the AEW Tag Team Champions. First off, the Young Bucks were accompanied to the ring by the Invincible Hand, Don Callis, and commentary is putting Callis over as a evil, bad person who manipulated the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks teased on BTE that they were going to get new gear and they were going to get all the colorful gear away. They wore all gray tonight, which I mean I loved. I thought their gear looked very nice. This match, I don't know if I'm the only one, but I think this match should have been the main event for the time limit that it went. This match went 23 minutes. It had a commercial in it. It was a little bit slow, but my God, at the end, this match was fantastic. This had to be, and I might be forgetting a couple matches. I'm not sure, but dude, can you tell me another TV match on AEW for the tag team titles that was better than this match tonight?
Zero. This was by far and away the best AEW tag title TV match we've gotten to date. I don't know if there's going to be anything else that tops it, because you got four guys in there who are four of the best in the entire world. And before I even praise this match a little bit more, let me take one last swig of my Gatorade, because my gosh, this match left me dehydrated and exhausted afterwards. So give me 1 sec here. That is refreshing. All right. Wow, what a match. This was, I don't think you could have opened the show any hotter than this. And I do see your point there, Joseph. If they did main event with this match, that would have been great too. But in my head, I was also thinking before the show started, AEW loves opening the shows with hot tag team matches. We've seen this happen in the past. So AEW, they wanted to come into this first show going unopposed tonight and start off with the biggest bang they could. And what better way to do that than by having the Young Bucks go up against Rey Fenix and Pac for the AEW tag team titles? I mean, I don't even know how we can really review this match, because it just picked up so much at the end. The Canadian Destroyer, I will say, probably one of the most beautiful Canadian Destroyers I've ever seen in my life.
My God.
That was a thing of freaking beauty. And then Phoenix, I'm trying to remember what spot it was. He did a tope con hero on Nick Jackson that he just cleared the ropes. It looked like it was just so picture perfect, man. It's I just can't believe watching these guys. They make everything look so effortless. You can do it too, even though we can't. We have no capabilities of doing that caliber of athleticism. But this was just phenomenal in every single way. The heel Bucks are great. I'm really enjoying this new fresh start with their characters. I love the fact that they came out in the new gear. No more tassels with their gear. That's all gone. They cut them away. I love the promo at the start of the show. And you gotta protect the Dior ones, man. You gotta protect the Dior ones. They had those on tonight. You gotta protect them. You gotta make them look good. And that's what they did tonight. And what was just a fantastic tag team time show. The show, Young Bucks, of course, retained. And very interesting side note too was the fact that we saw four tag teams in the crowd watching this match, which was a great visual. Jurassic Express, SCU #1 ranked, and we got Butcher and Blade, and I believe there was one other team.
The Best Friends.
Best Friends, that's right. Four great tag teams right there. So very interesting scenario there. So I'm wondering what might come up with those four teams as far as gaining contention for the Young Bucks AEW tag team titles.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I don't think I can review this match move by move. It's just simply impossible. But what I can say is my favorite part of the match was where Matt Jackson was standing on the apron and he was mocking himself. He was mocking his old self, running up the amp, clapping to the audience. There wasn't an audience because it was taped, but clapping to the ringside wrestlers. He tagged Pac. He tagged in Pac and not his partner. And then he did the clothesline. He shook the ropes like he would as a baby face. And then he took a big clothesline from Pac. That right there has heel tendency. That was my favorite part of the match. And then at the end, they gave I think they gave Pac a low blow. Ray Phoenix ate a super kick. Nick Jackson this dude ripped his mask off and threw it into the crowd. I mean, you can't get more heel heat than that right there, man. That is just that's next level. That's next level heat. And then he took a super kick with his hands covering his face, and the Young Bucks retained the tag team titles. Now, I did like the fact that they had the 4 tag teams out there absorbing the match, and it makes the match feel important. It really does, and I like that a lot. But especially after last week, do you remember a couple weeks ago we were pitching out ideas for who the Young Bucks could possibly face at the next pay-per-view? We were saying SCU, the Good Brothers. I think, didn't one of us say Jurassic Express? I think
we mainly talked about SCU and Gallows and Anderson, but Jurassic Express is in the top 5, so that is another team that can very well challenge the Bucks for the titles.
Well, now I am going to scrap all of that. You can forget about that because the match at the pay-per-view that's going to be happening, I think, is going to be the Young Bucks versus Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston for the tag team championships. You can screen record me on that, quote me on that. I don't care. That's your tag team title match at Double or Nothing. But there's going to be people, why are you throwing 2 singles guys into a tag team? It makes a ton of sense. It makes sense. That's why.
It's called storytelling, folks. Learn about it.
Do you agree with me or do you not agree with me?
No, I agree with you. I think the signs point to it. I doubt we're going to get another Moxley Omega match because we've already got a few of them already. I feel like that ship has sailed. Moxley and Kingston have obviously, I think, established themselves as a tag team now, and I'm already loving them as a duo. I've been loving them as a duo, and I think it makes all the sense in the world for them to go after the Bucks for the tag team titles at Double or Nothing in what should be a fantastic match.
Yeah, and now that the Bucks are assholes with Kenny Omega, whoever beats the Bucks for the tag team titles, that's going to be a big deal. Same thing goes with Kenny Omega, who I think is going to be Hangman Page. But since we're talking about the Bucks here, if let's say we do get that tag match at Double or Nothing, and Moxley and Kingston do win the tag team titles, I think that's going to get a great babyface moment at the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it will be great for both Moxley and Kingston, and Hangman Page. We'll see if he'll be the next one in line for Challenge Omega. He is number 1 ranked, and they've been building up his record more and more. I believe he's on an 11-match win streak at this point. So we're going to see what happens heading into May 30th. But it will be just to see if they go ahead and pull the trigger on Hangman and Omega, or maybe they'll wait on it just a little bit longer. Who knows?
I would wait. I would wait. I think it's too early. But I don't know who would challenge Omega at who's challenging Omega.
Right. Yeah, I don't. There's not really anybody in contention to really challenge Omega right now. I mean, Hangman is kind of your best option, but I agree with you, Joseph. I do think it's too early. If I had to book it, I'd probably wait until at least All Out, or even go as far as to wait until Full Gear. It'd be 1 year since both guys did collide one-on-one in that finals of the AEW World Title Eliminator. So it would kind of make all the sense in the world for 1 year later, Full Gear, come full circle, AEW World Title on the line, Omega Page. Kind of sells itself.
Yeah. Either Full Gear, or you could do the story that 2 years ago, Hangman Page was in the first inaugural World Title match, and he lost, and that's where it went all downhill for him. And then he rose himself back up, and here he is challenging Kenny Omega for the World Title. It's interesting, man. There's a lot of possibilities that can happen. We'll have to see what happens with the World Title, the Tag Team titles. We're going to go into Jade Cargill versus Red Velvet. This match went, I think, 10 minutes or 9 minutes. Cargill got the win as expected, and she looked impressive. The mixed tag match on March 3rd, great match. I still remember that, but I'd be mistaken if I said Jade looked sloppy in that match a little bit. But for me, she's gotten better since that. So, good on Jade Cargill. And she is going to be, we say this every time when she has a match. She is going to be, in the next few years, she's going to be a huge deal for the women's division in AEW. Not right now, because you got your women, you got your Sheetas, you got your Britt Bakers, you now got your Ty Contis, you got your Thunder Rosas. Jade Cargill is still working her way up, and she's still progressing. And it's crazy how good she's going to be. Maybe by next year, I don't know. But thoughts on this match? Jade Cargill getting the win over Red Velvet.
I thought for the time that it got, it was a very, very good match. Red Velvet, I think, is great in her own right, too. She has tons and tons of potential, and she's another woman in this division that, give it a couple more years, and she's definitely going to be a top-tier part of the women's division. And Jade Cargill, I mean, you just look at the physique of that woman, and you can tell that's a star right there. And you can tell each week that she's wrestling, she's getting better and better. I agree with Joseph, that March 3rd match, you did see a little bit of greenness, a little bit of sloppiness, but tonight, didn't really see that much at all from both her and Velvet. I thought they collided very well. I thought they meshed very well together. I feel like somewhere down the road, we're going to see this match happen once again, but tonight, Jade Cargill was the victor. I thought the right woman won. Red Velvet can take the loss. She's still very young. She's still got a long career ahead of her. Jade Cargill is the one that you really want to build up right now into the next big thing in the AEW women's division.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that, dude. We had the debut of Anthony Ogogo. He was accompanied to the ring by Aaron Solo, Nick Camarado, and QT Marshall. This was not a good squash. Ogogo punched this poor guy right in the stomach, and the referee called for the bell immediately. And they made Ogogo look like this huge monster. Punched a guy in the stomach. This didn't do much for me. I'm gonna admit. I like he's got a good look. He's obviously strong, but this match with Anthony Ogogo, it didn't do anything for me at all. And I don't know. I think he's getting a lot of focus in that group, but if this was me, I'd be focusing on Camarado the most out of that entire group. But your thoughts on the debut of Anthony Ogogo?
Yeah, I'm with you there, Joseph. It was pretty weird. I thought they could have done a little bit more with Ogogo to really kind of show that, okay, he is pretty legit. I mean, I understand with the punch to the gut, they're trying to sell his boxing background. I get it, but at the same time, it was very abrupt, and I was just kind of like, oh, so that's it. And so I was kind of hoping we would just get a little bit more, but maybe as time goes on, we'll see a bit more of Ogogo. And I really hope as well that we do see more of Camarado. I feel like that's definitely a guy. I mean, you'll take one good look at the guy. I mean, that's somebody you really want to build up as well. So it's going to be interesting to see where QT and his stable go going forward. I definitely see them feuding with the Nightmare family, probably going into Double or Nothing. We'll probably see that faction versus faction warfare happen. I also want to say this, not a fan of QT's stable name. The factory sounds very generic, in my honest opinion. It's literally just the Nightmare Factory, but just without the nightmare part. So I feel like they could have been maybe a bit more creative with the name. So I just wanted to get that out there. I just think the name's very generic.
Yeah, I can agree with you on that one. I would have named it something different, but we are going to move on here. We have Dax Harwood versus Chris Jericho, with Cash Wheeler accompanied Dax Harwood and Sammy Guevara accompanied Chris Jericho, and the ringside enforcer was Mike Tyson. Let me tell you, I was so into this match, dude. This match, I didn't think I'd be saying this. I mean, both guys are great, but you had the tag team titles on the line. You had the TNT title on the line. The tag team title was probably my favorite match of the night, but damn, this was close. First off, this was awesome. And I've got to get this out of the way. I would be mistaken if I did not bring up the fact that Mike Tyson absolutely dropped Cash Wheeler. I would be mistaken if I didn't say that. Holy shit. I popped.
Yeah, me too, man. That was one heck of a ride from Mr. Tyson. It's crazy how in this day and age the dude is still just one of the most intimidating guys on this freaking planet. But yeah, he really laid it in on Wheeler. And I thought it just looked great. That was probably the best visual of the match. Was that right there? But nothing to take away from Harwood and Jericho. Harwood and Jericho had a great old school type of match here tonight. I thought it was very, very good on both ends. Dax Harwood is great in his own right. Jericho, of course, we know, Hall of Famer, one of the best of all time. And this was a very solid match overall. Jericho picking up the W here. Pinnacle and Inner Circle, I mean, they're just ready to kill each other, man. You know, we're just leading more and more. A couple more weeks, we got blood and guts, and I couldn't be any more excited.
Yeah, man, this was an awesome match. Hard-hitting match. Going into the first commercial, Jericho's entire chest was red due to Dax Harwood. Mike Tyson was the ring enforcer of this match. I thought he was great. Jericho got a steel chair early. Tyson pulled it away from him, and Harwood actually took advantage. Then later on, Harwood had a chair, I believe, and Tyson took it away from him. Tyson pointed out that Cash Wheeler almost got himself into the ring. Sam Guevara then took care of that. He attacked Cash Wheeler. Mike Tyson did absolutely nothing about that. Then the Pinnacle came out while I believe the referee was interfered with Tyson. The entire Pinnacle group came out and started to attack Jericho. Then the rest of the Inner Circle came from the heel tunnel and they attacked the Pinnacle, which led that into a big brawl, which then led into the Tyson KO punch to Cash Wheeler. Dax Harwood saw everything that was going on. He got distracted into a code breaker, Judas effect, and Chris Jericho got the victory over Dax Harwood. Awesome match. Everybody talks about FTR being the best tag team in the world, but honestly, Dax Harwood, he is so freaking good as a singles guy, man. His match with Jungle Boy, now this match with Jericho, this was awesome. I really, really liked this match. If you guys did not watch this match, go check this out. Go check out this match between Dax Harwood and Chris Jericho. I really liked this match. So, what'd you think about it, dude? Overall thoughts on the Harwood and Jericho match 3 weeks before Blood and Guts?
Yeah, very, very solid, very solid. Hard hitting, like you said. You know, nice kind of old school feel to it. Jericho, we already know how great he is, and then of course Dax. You know, it's pretty great too. How he's so known as a tag team wrestler, but he can do great singles action as well. Wouldn't really mind seeing Cash Wheeler in some singles action as well to see how he would fare. But yeah, I mean, it was a very solid match. Definitely, I think the sleeper match of the show, because I mean, when you have the tag title match and the TNT title match, I feel like those were kind of the two biggest selling points right there. But Harwood and Jericho delivered a very solid match tonight. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Now, since we're 3 weeks away until the Blood and Guts match, they always have the match where if you win, you get the advantage going into the Blood and Guts War Games, whatever you want to call it. What match do you think they're going to do? Obviously, they would have announced it tonight. Maybe it's going to happen the 28th. I'm not sure. But what type of match do you think AEW is going to pull out for the Pinnacle and the Inner Circle for that advantage in the Blood and Guts match?
I'm not quite sure, man. Yeah, I think one match that I think comes off the top of my head with these two factions, Wardlow versus Sammy Guevara. That would be one heck of a match right there, man. You got a big man versus the smaller Sammy Guevara, but he's very feisty, very quick. That could be a great match you could book. Maybe you could do Sean Spears versus Santana. any array, of guys you can get from both factions. But the one that I think just came off the top of my head just now was Wardlow and Sammy Guevara. I just think those two guys, going at it would just be a phenomenal match to watch.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I thought, like, before this, like, I knew I was going to ask this. I actually thought of MJF versus Jake Hager. I don't know how you would feel about that, but that's what I thought about for the advantage match.
That's an interesting one. MJF Hager. I imagine that would probably be a bit more of a hard-hitting, old school kind of like how Harwood and Jericho was tonight. I imagine it'd be kind of that same kind of formula, but that's an interesting match. Never really thought about MJF and Hager. That sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, MJF could get the win, protect Hager since he's the bigger guy. Maybe you have the diamond ring in there or something like that. But I think at the end of the day, the heels in this type of stipulation, the heels always get the advantage. So they will the Pinnacle will find a way to get the advantage at the Blood and Guts match. But we'll have to see, man. I'm just so excited. This is probably this feud with these two factions. It's my favorite thing in AEW right now, and nothing tops that right now for me. So, I think you're the same way about that, right?
Oh yeah, I'm so for this Inner Circle Pinnacle feud. Blood and Guts, man. I just wish it would get here already because I'm super excited.
Absolutely. We then had a second women's match. AEW had two women's matches tonight, which doesn't really happen, but you know what? I'm all for that. I really am all for that. So we had Chris Statlander versus Amber Nova. Statlander, she looked very good. She looked impressive. She came out with the Orange Cassidy theme song. She got her win. And, Chris Statlander, now that she's got herself, like for me at first, Chris Statlander, I'm not going to say she was boring, but she had no character for me, in my opinion. Like, I wasn't really buying into the alien stuff, but, I can get behind her more now that they put her with the best friends in Orange Cassidy because they're fan favorites. And I feel like putting her with them, she's going to become a fan favorite as well. She could become a top babyface in the women's division. And who knows? I think we all know Britt Baker is going to be the one to take the title off of Sheeta. Maybe Chris Statlander's the one who beats Britt Baker. I'm not sure, but she looked great tonight, man. I really liked this debut match with Chris Statlander. This was good stuff.
Yeah, it's just awesome to see Chris Statlander back in action after being gone for just way too long, man. It just sucked how long we didn't have her on television, but I've always been a big Chris Statlander fan. I always thought she was one of the most interesting and one of the most compelling characters in that entire women's division. You got Sheeta, you got Baker, but Statlander was such a big focal point of that women's division. When she got injured, when she went away, it made a big hit on the women's division. Now, obviously, AEW has tried to make as many moves as they can to try and better that women's division. Obviously, we're starting to see that come full circle here with the likes of Red Velvet, the likes of Jade Cargill, Ty Conti. We're with Anna Jay, even though she unfortunately is injured at the moment as well. But you started to see this women's division really build up, and with Chris Statlander back, that's only going to do nothing but great things for the women's division, for herself. And I thought this first match back, she looked great. She looks in fantastic shape. You can tell. The commentary even pointed out she's been rehabbing while she's been recovering, and she's been getting back into the gym, getting back into her body, into in-ring shape, and it's just awesome to see. And I'm just really happy to see her back. And the whole pairing of her and the best friends is a great call on AEW's part. These are four people put together. It's just a recipe for success.
It makes sense too when you think about it, because. For those of you who watch BTE, I believe Chris Statlander did BTE bits with Orange Cassidy. And so, I think it makes a lot of sense. I really do. So, we'll have to see what the success of Chris Statlander comes in the next few months in AEW with the best friends. But we're going to move on here. It seems like, folks, we have found Christian Cage's first feud in AEW. as he came out, was supposed to get interviewed by Tony Schiavone. He was interrupted by Taz, Hook, and Powerhouse Hobbs. Now, we did not mention this on last week's review when we talked about last week, but Christian was offered a spot in Team Taz by Taz himself. So Taz was like, no emails, no text messages, no phone calls. You don't even mention my name out here. What's going on here? Why won't you give me an answer? And Christian's like, we could have done this privately in the back, but you came out here like a coward and decided to do it in front of everybody in the world. But I'll give it to you right now. I came to AEW to outwork everybody and to win championships, and I didn't come here to solve your problems in Team Taz. So my offer is no. Taz was then like, this is the biggest mistake you've made in your career. Hobbs then goes into the ring. He kicks the shit out of Christian. This is Christian giving the rub to the younger talent. He gave the rub to Hobbs here, beat the shit out of him for a good 3 minutes, threw him outside the ring onto the barricade, overhead suplex. He stomped his head into the steps, powerbomb in the ring, and Hobbs stood tall over Christian Cage. And it was announced next week we are going to get this match between Hobbs and Christian Cage, which good on Will Hobbs, man. You could tell when they put this guy in the ring with Christian Cage, having him, beat the crap out of him. They clearly see something in him. They want to push him, I think. And I'm happy he's getting this match next week. I couldn't be any happier. The chemistry back and forth between Taz and Christian was very good stuff. As obviously, I think this could go out to Double or Nothing. I don't know what match they would do at Double or Nothing, but, I'm interested. You got me hooked. I like Christian. I'm a big fan of Team Taz. I'm looking forward to see what's going on with Christian and Team Taz and everything, dude.
Yeah, I love the back and forth between Taz and Christian tonight. I thought that was very good. And then Christian definitely put over Will Hobbs big tonight with that attack. I mean, he just beat the ever-living crap out of Christian Cage. I mean, and Christian sold beautifully for Will Hobbs. And next week, like you said, we got Hobbs versus Cage. I think it'll be a great one-on-one match. I think it's pretty clear that Christian's not going to take the L, but I know Christian is going to make Hobbs look great in the feed, just like AEW, does this, time and time again. They're building up their talent, and even when they lose, they look strong in defeat. They don't make them look like losers. They don't make them look irrelevant. They are slowly building up every single one of these young talents here. And Will Hobbs is another example, and I'm very happy for Hobbs. This is a huge spot for him. I mean, to face Christian Cage of all people, one of the biggest legends in pro wrestling history, it's a big spot for him, and I'm looking forward to this match next week between both Hobbs and Christian Cage. It should be a great one.
Now, if we do, like we had this feud with Christian and Team Taz now, if AEW was to drag this all the way out to Double or Nothing, what could you see Christian Cage do at Double or Nothing?
Well, I think it's either going to be Christian and Ricky Starks, or it's going to be Christian and Brian Cage. Now, the story they've been kind of playing out with Brian Cage as of late, for those who've been paying attention, is Brian Cage, I think, is slowly phasing out of Team Taz. They're slowly but surely turning him face. It's becoming more and more apparent as each week comes by. They're all trying to get on the same page, get along, and if you've been watching AEW Dark, you've been seeing Team Taz in like these 6-man tags and everything, and you can see Ricky Starks is not is tagging in Hobbs rather than tagging in Brian Cage, and so it's kind of like a messing with each other type deal, and they're all cool with each other, but at the same time, I think we can all see where this is heading. So I don't know exactly if it will be Ricky or if it will be Brian. Maybe we do get Brian versus Christian at Double or Nothing, Cage versus Cage. Maybe make it a steel cage. We can see that. I mean, either way, I think we're going to get a great match out of it. Whether it's Brian Cage, whether it's Ricky Starks, I think we're going to ultimately get a great match out of it at Double or Nothing.
I've had enough of steel cage matches already, bro. I saw one on SmackDown.
Wait a minute. What about the lovely, the fantastic Braun Strowman Shane McMahon steel cage match? You know the anti-bullying campaign that Braun Strowman's running. Oh, this is for anybody who's been called stupid. That one, oh man, that's the best steel cage match I've seen all year. Oh my goodness.
Tell you what, live at the venue, not a lot of people had interest in that match besides the one bump where Shane McMahon jumped off this cage.
Well, of course, people are going to pop for a Shane McMahon, but I think we all knew Shane McMahon was bumping. He's going to bump it a bit. I mean, other than that, it's like, well, yeah, of course, nobody would care about that match. The choo-choo train, and then you got Shane McMahon, of course, having a WrestleMania match, but no, let's not give Aleister Black a WrestleMania match, But that's another story for another day. We're not here to talk about WWE and their stupid booking. We're here to talk about AEW and their great booking.
Yep. And then we're going to, next week, we got 4 matches confirmed for next week's show. We have Hikaru Sheeta versus Ty Conti for the women's title. Should be a very good match. I'm looking forward to that one. I'm sure Sheeta retains though, but glad to see Ty Conti get her big match. We have Powerhouse Hobbs versus Christian Cage, like we talked about just a few moments ago. Speaking of Ricky Starks, we have Ricky Starks against Adam Hangman Page, who is on a 11-match winning streak, and I think it said Ricky Starks is on a 7-match winning streak. I think.
I believe so. Yeah. So it's a battle of the win streaks next week.
Yeah. So that should be a very good one. And then the eye-opening one to me out of all these matches is Trent versus Penta. That is going to be a banger. That's going to be an absolute banger next week, man. So next week, it looks very nice. It looks very nice. And you know what else will be?
You go ahead, man.
No, you go. You go.
Well, I was going to say, AEW knows how to build up their cards, man. It's like every single week. Like I've been saying, man, every single week coming out of Revolution, they've just been building up these cards more and more with some stack matches. I mean, Trent versus Penta, Conti versus Sheeta, Page versus Starks, Hobbs versus Christian Cage. I mean, loaded card next week. I can't wait for it.
Absolutely. And I was going to say, you know what else is very nice? Next week's review. That's going to be a very...
Oh, gosh. Next week's review, I mean, golly, we're only 7 days away from it. And I want to go ahead and get right into it, man. I mean, I love talking about this, man. We're the best tag team in the IWC, and we always do it best every single Wednesday night. You already know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We had the main event, TNT title, Falls Count Anywhere, Matt Hardy, Darby Allin. I will say this was a very good TNT championship match, okay? It was a very good TNT title match. The last 5 minutes were fun as hell. They were really fun. But I'd be mistaken if I said this match was overbooked. We did not need the Hardy family office. The Hardy family office. We didn't need them. We didn't need the Dark Order. And then we had everything with Sting and Lance Archer. Lance Archer gave Isaiah Cassidy a black hell. Dark Order brawled with the Butcher Blade and Private Party. We didn't need that stuff. But besides that, this was a very good TNT title match. They used the steel chair. They did the same spot with Matt Hardy and Sammy Guevara where the chair was wrapped around Sammy Guevara and he took the twist of fate. Same thing happened with Darby Allin. The Butcher threw a trash can at Darby Allin. And then at the end, Darby was hitting Matt Hardy with a baseball bat, and he told commentary to get away. He wiped the entire commentary table with the baseball bat. Matt Hardy was on the table. Darby Allin climbed up to one of the stage lights, 20 feet in the air. This guy is insane. He hits a coffin drop 20 feet in the air off the stage light, and he retained the TNT title. Very good match, but it was a little bit over. It actually was very overbooked, I think. You didn't need the Hardy family office. You didn't need the Dark Order. And, I'm a big fan of the Dark Order. I love those guys. I love Silver, Uno, and Grayson. They're great. But I don't know. I'm not feeling. I might be the only one. I don't know, but I'm not feeling this feud between the Dark Order and the Hardy office right now. I'm just not feeling it. So there's a lot better things in AEW going on than this rivalry, I think. So, your thoughts on the TNT title main event overall, Mr. Williams?
I couldn't agree with you more, man. Yeah, this was completely overbooked. Look, I can stomach brawls in AEW at certain times, right? But right here in this match, in this main event spot, it was completely unnecessary. I mean, I get it. The Hardy family, obviously, and the Dark Order feuding, but that doesn't mean you need to take away from the main focus, what should be your main focus, which is Darby Allin, Matt Hardy for the TNT Championship. This is your main event. This is a big spot for both guys. And yet here we are. We have the Dark Order running out. We have the Hardy family office running out. We got Sting coming out. And literally, we saw in this match the main focal point at one point of this match was Sting and Lance Archer. And literally, it's as if Matt Hardy and Darby Allin, which is the main event, was literally a side act that was going on. That really bugged me. I was like, this is not what should be happening. We need to make the main focus the actual two competitors in the match and the prestigious title that they're going at each other for. So, I mean, I get you're building up Sting and Lance Archer for, I guess, an eventual match. You're building up the Dark Order Hardy family office feud, but it was really unnecessary. This was a horrible spot to put this stuff in. You couldn't have, maybe saved this for next week. Maybe could have done it earlier in the show. I mean, the fact that it happened in the middle of this match was just not good timing, if not good booking. But I will say, like you talked about the last 5 minutes of the match, very fun, awesome stuff. Darby Allin and Matt Hardy are great. I especially love the finish, the coffin drop off the 20 feet in the air off the scaffolding. It literally, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of all those years ago, Jeff Hardy. One of the best moments in Raw history. Jeff Hardy doing a swanton off the top of the scaffolding over onto Edge. I remember watching that show live, watching that moment live. It was one of the most iconic moments in Raw history. That's what that spot reminded me of. So I thought the spot to finish the match was awesome. I thought, what Matt and Darby did as far as their in-ring work and the, false count anywhere using that stipulation, I thought that was very solid. I just really wish they would have not done the whole faction warfare here and then the Archer Sting stuff. I mean, it really, really took a lot away from the main event, and hopefully it didn't turn off too many viewers because, it was poorly booked. But what Darby and Matt did within the match, great stuff. I love both guys, and Darby retains and continues his reign as TNT champion.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It makes the title not feel prestigious, if you know what I mean. So it doesn't make...
this is your big mid-card title. This is a title that Cody, first won, and he, developed it as a big title right out of the gate, and then he dropped the title to Darby, and now Darby's the champion. I mean, this is a title you need to make sure is a big focal point in these matches. You can't just let all these other side acts, all these other side storylines come into play and oh man, chaos is ensuing, and it's just well, what are we even doing at this point?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are just hitting an hour on the double review on the Big Fight Field channel. And we are going to wrap it up here tonight. I'd like to thank each and every one of you who tuned in to the review tonight. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are 13 subs away until 400 subscribers. Let's get to 400 by May 1st. May 1st, let's get to 400. I very much appreciate that. So make sure to do that. Comment down below your thoughts on last week and this week's episode of Dynamite. Let us know in the comments below. Hit that like button if you like what you heard from myself and Wesley Williams here tonight. You can follow me on Twitter at Colin_Joseph. Wes, where can they follow you on Twitter, man?
Oh, you already know. Big_Wes18. I'll spell it out like I always do. That's lowercase BIG_WES18. Big_Wes18. Giving you some of the best tweets in the IWC. Talking AEW. Talking NXT. Now that's on Tuesday nights. And I will be talking AEW Elevation as well on Monday. So if you want to hear about all I have to say about all that great content, follow me on Twitter. And folks, give us that big like. I mean, we gave you an hour full of wrestling content that you don't want to miss out on. I mean, why else wouldn't you hit the like button? Why else wouldn't you hit the subscribe button? Why else wouldn't you turn on that bell for notifications to let you know when upload every single Wednesday night right here on Big Fight Deal? 15 away from 400. Get my man Joseph to 400 subscribers by May 1st, people. Come on. Help us brother out. Help us out. Support us Wednesday night, every single Wednesday night, man. Talking about the best pro wrestling show on the planet, AEW Dynamite. Folks, the double feature is over. Thank you so much for the continued support. We are back in business, and we're just getting started. You know, I mean, we're this about maybe like fourth, fifth review we're in. I mean, we're just more and more is this going to come. I mean, more and more explosive reviews, man. And next week is going to be no different.
Oh, yeah. We got a big show next week with a nice card. We are actually 6 reviews in. So,
Wow.
Yep. So, next week is 7. We will see you guys next week. Myself and Wesley will see you guys next week. I will see you guys Friday for the SmackDown review right here on the Big Fight Field channel. So, have a good one. Stay safe. And as always, stay classy.